now live on our fourth episode. This is our fourth of many episodes, and this is probably one of my favourite topics to talk about. So today we're going to talk about,
have a guess. Heart.
The heart wall.
Actually, the heart wall.
The heart wall. Okay, so we're here every Monday. We're live every Monday at 10:30. And today's topic is all about, well, what is a heart wall? So do you feel that you suffer with anxiety? Do you feel overwhelmed? Do you feel like you have stress in your life? I don't know anybody who doesn't have stress in their life at the moment. Do you feel stuck in life, that you feel like you can't move forward? Do you suffer with a lack of clarity? Do you feel like you're not appreciated no matter what you do? Do you also feel like you have a bit of heartache or heartbreak? Do you feel disconnected with other people? Do you feel lonely or sad? They're just the emotional symptoms of what you can have when you suffer with a heart wall. And you also have physical symptoms such as neck and shoulder pain. So what happens is there could be a misalignment between your heart and also with your brain. They call that the heart coherent. There's a company called HeartMath, and they focus on changing your heart rhythm to get your heart to then coherent or to be aligned with your brain. So we're very humble to serve you today. We're very humble to be here. For those who don't know me, my name is Victoria. I'm an emotional code and body code practitioner through Dr. Brad Nelson. And this is...
Hello, I'm Madeline. I was one of those children who have always been connected since I can remember with the energies, although back in the day it was never spoken about. But I carried on being connected with it when I decided to leave the heady world of commerce to help people, and studied all sorts of modalities, from biodynamics right through to studying shamanism as well. I suppose that the main ones that I certified in as a practitioner and teacher was meditation, mindfulness, crystal therapies. I've done Reiki Master, 6th generation Usui, and teacher, also equestrian and animal Reiki, all sorts.
So this is why, as what I say every week, we call Madeline the Oracle, because she has such a wealth of knowledge. I mean, she's been doing this now for over 40 years. I mean, you and Dad used to go and clear houses, didn't you? And I don't mean clear them, clean them, taking the mop and bucket with them. I meant clearing the houses of whatever negative energies were there. So what to expect from today? So every Monday, as I mentioned, we go live on Facebook. We also record this and then we put it onto our YouTube channel. So we have a discussion of a week for that topic. Last week, we talked about how can you absorb trapped emotions. And also at the end of last week, what I did is I talked about how to put a shield up to protect yourself. So if you want to know how do you absorb trapped emotions and how can you put a shield up to protect yourself, watch last week's episode 3. And next week, we're going to talk all about how can you get emotions from prenatal trapped emotions. Now, every week we always ask for 2 volunteers. I'd really love if you could volunteer with us and we can show you and demonstrate and help you remove any unprocessed trapped emotions. So if you'd like to volunteer, it's free and all your information is kept private and confidential. Always says your name, what country you're from and what the issue is. That's all that's mentioned. So if we'd love to really hear from you, if you'd like to volunteer, you can either comment below with either the word me, or what you can do is email on members@gentleharmonies.co.uk. So that's members@gentleharmonies.co.uk and just put me. Okay, so what is a heart wall? What is it? What is this word heart wall? As I mentioned, this is my favorite subject. And the reason being is because from a personal experience, I had a heart wall. I felt stuck in life. Even though I was with a partner and I felt the love, you know, I was a little bit having my guard up, and I didn't know why I always had to have my guard up to the love that I was receiving. And the reason is because I had a heart wall. So what we're going to do is we're going to talk about what is a heart wall, how to release a heart wall, and what should you experience. So a heart wall what a heart wall is just amalgamation of various emotions that become trapped within your heart. It's like a wall that gets built around your heart. And what can happen is by having a heart wall, you may struggle to live life your fullest. What I do is with clients, I always muscle test to find out, what percentage of the messages from your heart are getting to the body tissues. And if it's quite a high percentage that's being blocked, then that indicates you have a heart wall. What they say is over 90% of people have heart walls. So it's very rare that people don't have a heart wall. So how do you know if you had a heart wall? Well, I've already mentioned, a few of the symptoms: anxiety, feeling overwhelmed, feeling stuck in life. One of the biggest ones that people struggle with is to receive love or to give love with unconditionally, with neck and shoulder pains as well. So how do you remove heart walls? Well, the biggest thing is, like as mentioned, there's a company out there called HeartMath. A good friend of mine is a qualified practitioner for HeartMath. And she showed me how HeartMath works regarding using the technology. And it's really interesting. The signals that go from your heart can stop you from having blockages elsewhere. So to remove your heart wall, what you need to do is realign your heart with the rhythm of your brain or the rhythm of your functions of your body. Now, if you're not sure how to do that, what you can do is remove any unprocessed emotions by using magnets, what we've done before. If you can't do that, then it's changing the words. Change the words you use. Or you can use Tibetan singing bowls. This is a heart chakra Tibetan singing bowls, because by using a singing bowl, each one has a different tone. You can put that over your heart and it can help realign your heart as well. Okay, so, by using magnets, what I do, as I mentioned before, we have 2 volunteers every week. So I use magnets, which changes the vibration of that energy that person has, of that unprocessed trapped emotions. And then your subconscious mind then is willing to release that trapped emotion by using the magnets. So what we do is we help and support the release of those trapped emotions. However, the work doesn't stop there. What we do with our clients is when we do release the trapped emotions, that's just the start of the snowball to help releasing the trapped emotions. We also need to think about the words that we use, because that's a big thing. Because remember what I said to you before, that 90% of emotions or 90% of physical pain start with a word. Okay, I'm going to use our first volunteer, and I'm really excited that the first volunteer that we've got is a dog. We can release emotions from animals. It's not just humans as well. And the dog is called Angel, sorry. And the dog is, what breed is the dog?
It's a Pyrenean mountain dog. She's beautiful, huge, white, cuddly.
And the dog is 8 years old. She started having seizures about November 2020. She's had a couple more 5 weeks ago, and then 2 bad ones quite recently. So what happens is when she has the seizures, she obviously she gets very hungry after having the seizures, and then she settles down. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and find out, why is Angel having these seizures? Is there anything that we can use in the Body Code app? Because sometimes it might be that there's nothing we can do, that she might need to go and get some help from somewhere else. But let's just see what happens. I'm going to use the Body Code app to see what we can do. Whilst I'm doing that and tuning into Angel's energy field, Madeline's just going to talk about how do we release emotions by using energy, and what is your aura. So what I do is I always ask for a little bit of help first of all. So even though Angel's not here, we've got permission from Angel's dog owner, which so she's like a proxy. So I'm always going to ask for a little bit of help. So I'll go on the quiet now and let Madeline take over.
Okay, thank you. Basically, what Victoria does is go into the subconscious. You can't go into subconscious directly with an animal, but what we've always done, we work with the owners themselves, and Karen, David are the owners of Angel, and Karen's agreed to be proxy for her, so we can go into Karen's subconscious as she connects direct with Angel. So it's all about energies. Everything is energy, as we're always saying. So it's going into Angel's subconscious to find out from her, and that's what I call your database. Everything you've ever felt, touched, smelt, watched, seen, tasted, everything is stored in there. It's like your database. So it knows everything, whether it was something you saw, not just experienced, might have been on television, watched somebody else, happening to somebody else. It's all stored in there. So via Karen as proxy, Vic's talking directly to Angel's subconscious, which all sounds very strange, doesn't it? Trust me, it's tried and tested and it works. So it's to try and find out what's causing these seizures for Angel. And then if we find out what's causing them, what emotions, what events might have happened, then what Vic does, as she says, is using the magnets, which amplifies energy. I mean, the whole world is magnetic. The earth is surrounded by magnetic fields. So, and everything is energy, which also can be also magnetic. So by using the magnets, and she strokes it across her governing meridian line, which goes from inside the top lip all the way down your back, right down under your coccyx. It's the main line, it's the main trunk line, if you will, the main road. And then all the other meridian lines come off it. Meridian lines is your energy lines. It's where acupuncturists use to heal you. So that will be amplified on reversing whatever energy it is, changing it from a negative energy and matching it. So it just deletes it. And what she's also doing is using kinesiology. She's using that muscle testing, if you will, by what they call a ring method, doing that. And if she asks us a question, yes, no question. If it stays, it's a yes. If it comes away easily, then it's a no. So she's just doing a bit of detective work.
Okay. So what I'll also do is I'll send the notes over to Karen. I'd like to delve in a little bit more with this as well, Karen, so I'll contact you after the show. But the first that came up was a cording with Angel. Now, the cording wasn't with a human, it's with another dog, but that other dog is no longer here, it's passed away. So the cording, what happened is there was a physical emotional shock with this other dog, not with Angel. So Angel was feeling all these emotions from the other dog. And the most common trapped emotion that was there was guilt, so the feeling of guilt. So I've released those emotions for Angel, and now that's gone down to a 4 out of 10. But as I mentioned, I'd like to get in contact with you, Karen, just to delve a little bit more deeper within there, because I did feel like there was a lot more to be processed. So I'll contact you after about that.
6 out of 10 before, was it?
Yeah, so it's a 4 out of 10 now.
Oh,
okay, so emotions, what are they and how do we pick emotions up? So as I mentioned every week is we are just energy. We don't get taught at school about our bodies just being energy. We just know what we've been taught, that we are just a physical body and not the energy body now either. So what happens is because we're just energy, as we go through life, we pick up all the other types of emotions, because an emotion is just a vibration, which is a frequency. That's all it is. So what is a thought? So Madeline's going to talk a little bit about the science behind what is a heart wall and what are the thoughts. So Madeline, what is a thought?
Well, basically, scientifically, a thought is simply an impulse of energy carrying some information. Trying to put that simplistically, if you imagine putting a pebble in some water, the little ripples, well, each ripple is an impulse. So if you can imagine on each little ripple, there's some information, like each ripple might be, well, I'm sad, I'm happy, I feel great, whatever the information is on there. Well, these impulses then go up your spinal cord, they go into your brain, they're gathered by your neurons in the brain, your motor neurons, gather the information if anything's been, such as if your stomach goes over, or you get cramp in your stomach, or you suddenly stop breathing, anything that's moving in your body, the motor neurons deal with. But what I want to do, rather than go into lots of facts and figures, I think you're going to go through some of those, aren't you?
Yeah, a little bit.
She's taken that off me today. So I just want to take you through a couple of scenarios, a couple of situations to try and explain how these things work. So I just want you to imagine with me that you're having a brilliant day. You're with a load of friends or family in your favourite place, wherever that is for you. You've got wonderful food, it tastes good, it smells good. You're having nice drinks, lots of laughter, lots of energy. It's a beautiful day. You can hear the birds singing, all these wonderful things. And all this, everything that you do, everything you taste, see, smell, as I say, all these impulses will be stored in your brain. And then because it's a really nice day, it all goes into your hippocampus in the brain and it's stored as memories. So maybe months, maybe years later, you might, excuse me, see a photo of that place or taste, you go for something to eat and the taste is the same as something you had that day. And it brings back that memory, which is really fuzzy and warm, I would say, nice, happy memory, which is great. So let's look at the other side of this. If you can imagine a bad day, you may have seen, witnessed an accident. We're talking about the heart and love and everything. Let's look at perhaps you see your beloved in the arms of someone else, which is a bit of a nasty shock. So what happens then? Your stomach goes over, you feel like crying, you've got pain in your chest, you can't breathe properly, you're feeling very sad, you're feeling betrayed, all these negative energies. And it's so much that your heart, which as Vic will explain later, which has more impulses and governs more of your emotions than your brain does, will just gather these emotions and to protect you, because that's what your body's there for, to protect your energies, to protect you, it will create an energetic wall, if you will, around the heart and puts all these emotions in there, the grief of when you split up and so on and so forth. It puts them all in there to protect you and thinks this isn't going to happen again. You're not going to suffer these emotions again. But then, of course, what also happens is that stops you in the future, which Vic again will tell you, from wanting to be loved or from giving love, because your heart's going, no, remember how these felt, and that's the connection to loving somebody, so not happening again. So that's in a nutshell really about heart walls. But just on the science bit again, I have to do a little bit. Dr. Brad Nelson and his team did loads of studies on various emotions some years back, and on the heart wall they took 100 random people, if you will, who were suffering with depression, with post-traumatic stress disorder, anxiety, all sorts of different stressful emotions, and they cleared a heart wall for them. And the results from what it was before and what it was afterwards, on average, with PTSD, the post-traumatic stress disorder, they reduced it by 35%. And with depression, they actually reduced it by 36%, which is a third, which is brilliant achievement in one clearance of the heart wall. So I'll stop going on now before I just...
So your heart, so, you know, the topic that I put on is, do you suffer or do you struggle to, in relationships, do you suffer or struggle to receive love? Do you suffer or struggle to give love? And the reason for that is because there's been emotions that's been built up over your heart over time to protect you. You know, your heart generates between 60 to 1,000 more power electromagnetically than your brain. So it's only really been since the 1970s that scientists have now found out how powerful your heart is.
I remember it well.
So really, your heart is the most powerful organ in your body. And our hearts are formed before our brains are when we're born. So your heart beats around 100,000 times a day, which is about 40 million times a year. So as I mentioned, in the 1970s, the scientists have now realized that your heart is controlling your nervous system. And from this has been a discovery of a medicine known as Neuro cardiology. Dr. Roland McCarthy from Quantum University provides a great explanation all about the heart brain and how the heart sends signals and how that can affect you emotionally as well. So when you give love out to somebody, so this is another thing that the scientists have done. So when you send love out to somebody, whoever that person is, wherever they are, they have now discovered that electromagnetic signals radiate from your heart actually are detectable in that person's brain. So even with heart transplants now as well, they're saying this, that each emotion gets stored within each organ. So whoever that person is before they passed away and had emotions of heartache or heartbreak that went into that heart, and they were healthy, but they just had emotions, and that heart transplant was given to somebody else. Now, all of a sudden, that person who was the receiver of the heart transplant can start having cravings that they never had before. Okay.
There was one that actually liked jazz.
Yes.
He sort of had a craving for jazz, and he hated jazz before.
So what I'm going to do is I'm going to talk through what I'm going to do next. So my next volunteer is Gwen from the UK. And Gwen has anxiety and obsessive compulsion thoughts and behaviour. Now, for those who've watched Inherited Trapped Emotions, which is our second episode, now Gwen is saying that she's had anxiety since she can remember. So when someone says they've had anxiety since they can remember, what would that tend to give off a red flag for? It could mean that it's inherited, that perhaps this was passed down by her birth parents or birth parent. And also with the obsessive compulsive behaviour, it's worsened over the last 12 months. And Gwen has given us an 8 out of 10. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to connect to the higher power. So whenever we do a session with anybody, we always say, you know, whoever that is for you, whoever you ask for help. So I'm just going to connect with the higher power to ask for help. Okay, so then, as Madeline explained before, I'm just going to use muscle testing to make sure we're connected. So can I ask, are Gwen and I, are we connected energetically? Have I got permission to work as proxy? Can I please have a yes? Can I please have a no? Now, not all times this will work. I know that through our demonstrations, it's always worked. But sometimes we can have no connection. And that can be because either the person's dehydrated or for whatever reason, the subconscious mind is saying, not today. But with Gwen, we can work with Gwen today. Okay, so let's find out. I'm just going to find out what is the theme that Gwen has with anxiety and the obsessive compulsive thoughts and behaviour. What is that at the moment? So you did say it was an 8. So can I ask, what is that at the moment? Is it a 10, 9? Right, I've got that down to being a 9 out of 10. Is there anything that we can use on the body code app, which is what Dr. Brad Nelson's put together to help reduce or release for Gwen? Is it on the left? Is it energy? Is it on the left? Post-traumatic, obsessive, mental. Okay, is it on the left? Memory field programming. Okay, is it on the left? Despair anchor. So despair anchor, I'm going to explain to you what that means. So remember what I said, 90%, or if not more than 90% of our physical pain and mental pain start with the word, start with a thought first. So the first thing that's come up for Gwen is despair anchor. Now, despair anchor are internal thoughts. What are we believing? What are we saying to ourselves? Because we are the story we tell. I mean, look around your friends that you've got at the moment. Just pick 5 friends that you've got. What's the most common thing that those friends do? Have you got one friend that talks about work all the time? Have you got another friend that talks about a certain subject all the time? You know, what is their common denominator? What do they always talk about? Well, whatever they talk about is their personality. That's what makes them up. So let's have a look to see what the despair anchor is that Gwen is saying to herself. So let's find out. So is it column A? Is it I don't have control. So this is what's happening. So what Gwen's thinking in herself. So Gwen, if you're watching, or I'm going to send over the notes to you, your internal thought process is, I don't have any control. Now, if that resonates with you, please let me know. So what I'm going to do is find out, is there a reason why you're feeling you don't have control? Is there a reason behind it? Yeah, is it on the left? Is it energy? Okay, is it on the left? Energy, emotional. Is it on the left? Is it trapped? So ironically, it's a heart wall. So there's a heart wall emotion there. So remember what I said to you about a heart wall? A heart wall is just emotions that have been built up. So you have a heart, you have emotions that like a wall that goes around your heart. So we all have our own internal health and safety officer. So if you've gone through, like example, a breakup with heartache or a grief or a loss of something, similar to what Madeline was saying before, your subconscious mind will think, I don't want you to feel that way again. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to build up a wall to stop you. So every time you go to feel love, you're not going to give yourself fully because we want to protect ourselves. So what is this heart wall? Where's this heart wall emotions come from? Now, there's 6 ways that we can have emotions that can come to us. It's either prenatal, which we're going to talk about next week, preconception, which is coming from a place before you came to earth, inherited, that we've already talked about, an event, shared emotions, or absorbed. So there's 6 reasons why you can have these emotions. So why does Gwen have this? What is the reason behind it? Is it on the left? Is it prenatal? So it's prenatal. So when Gwen was in her mum's belly, there was emotions that her mum would have felt of, can I ask, is it they don't have control? So the emotions that her mum felt of the despair anchor of not feeling in control, and also some other emotions that Gwen's mum would have experienced is at the 3rd trimester, on the 3rd trimester. So what's happened is Gwen's had these emotions from birth. She's had it from birth. So let's just find out what emotions are in there. I'm just going to see if there's any more than 3. Okay, so is it column A? Is it odd? Okay, so is it 2, 4, depression, frustration, indecisiveness is the first one that's come up, indecisiveness. Are there any others? Is it column A? Is it odd? 1, 3, crying. Are there any others? So column A, is it odd? 2, 4, anger, bitterness, guilt. Okay, I'm going to leave it there because obviously I could be going on because what we say is we like to give about an hour session to each person. So I'm just going to release those emotions that Gwen had at the moment. So the first emotion that Gwen has is guilt. That's the first emotion that's within her heart wall, which she got from her mum when mum was pregnant with her. And this is the feeling of done something wrong. So I'm going to use the magnets, which change that vibration, and the intention, the words that I say will help release that trapped emotion. So my intention is to release that emotion of guilt for Gwen that's located within a heart wall that was given to her when she was in her mum's belly. Okay, so let me just check. Has that guilt, has that been released? Has it been released with love? Has it been released completely? What about crying? What about crying? Can we release crying? Okay, so crying is it doesn't mean you're crying all the time. It means you have a build-up of emotions. So when somebody has crying, that tends to mean that you struggle to show people how you really feel. You have a mask on. So when you're on your own, you might take yourself off to a bathroom to have a good cry, or you might struggle to cry completely. So crying just means it's an inwards of emotions that you're not releasing. So my intention is to release the trapped emotion of crying that's located in Gwen's heart wall that was given to her when she was in her mum's belly. So my intention is to release crying. Okay, let's just check that. Has that emotion been released? Has it been released with love? Has it been released completely? Okay, what about indecisiveness? Can we please release indecisiveness? My intention is to please release indecisiveness. You can't make your mind up because you don't trust your intuition. You can't make your mind up whether you want to go left or whether you want to go right. This is emotion that's within your heart wall that's passed to you by your mum. Okay, can I ask, has the indecisiveness, has that been released? Has it been released with love? Has it released completely? What is Gwen's feeling of anxiety and obsessive compulsive now? Is it a 10, 9, 8, 7? So it's a 7 out of 10. So it's only gone down by 1, but it's gone down. That's the most important thing. And can I just double check Gwen's heart? Does Gwen have a heart wall? What we do is we can always find out what the size of your heart wall is. So let's find out, what is the size of Gwen's heart wall? Is it more than 10 centimeters, more than 20, more than 30, more than 50, 40, 30? So is it 20? So 20, 30. So let me try that again. Is it more than 10? Am I still connected to Gwen? Okay, so can I find out the size of Gwen's heart wall? Okay, so is it more than 10 centimeters? 20, 30, 40? Okay, so is it 31, 2, 3, 33 centimeters? So your heart wall is made of 33 centimeters, and we can always find out what your heart wall is made of as well. Different people have different ways of what material they use to make the heart wall of. So whatever people feel comfortable with, that's what they tend to make it up of. So for example, I've had somebody that's heart wall is made of clouds because they love looking at the clouds. I've had some people that the heart walls been made of cotton because they had a baby blanket. The fabric was cotton. It could be made of anything. So can we find out what is Gwen's heart wall made of? Can we please find out? Now, did you see that was a no? Can we please find out what Gwen's heart was made of? No. So subconscious mind is saying, you don't need to know that. So that's fine. We don't need to know what it's made up of. Okay. So let's have a look to see what we've gone through so far. So can you believe that's the session and it's over? Gosh. So as I said, every Monday we are honoured to be here to serve you because that's what we're here. We're here to serve you with information and also to help 2 volunteers reduce whatever pain they may have. So the topic this week was all about heart wall. You know, do you struggle to keep a relationship down? Do you struggle with love to yourself? And if you do, that might mean that you might have built up a wall of emotions around your heart. So how do you release those words that you use? Think about the story you're telling yourself. You might have unprocessed, trapped emotions in there that need releasing. Do you have certain pains? Do you feel like you're stuck in life? Do you have neck and shoulder pain? Because that is the main contributing factor of neck and shoulder pain, is saying you have a heart wall. Madeline spoke about the science. We said now that they're saying that your heart is one of the most important organs within your body. It's your second brain. Well, now it's saying that your head brain is just your obeying brain, where your heart sends out all the signals to everything else. Then we talked about, how you can build up these emotions. And then we did Gwen. We did a volunteer with Gwen. Now, what to do next? So next week's topic is going to be all about prenatal. So ironically, Gwen was prenatal. How can you have emotions whilst you're in your mum's tummy? And how do you know, and how can you release them? We've put together a free chakra quiz. And within the chakra quiz, there's 7 parts of you. That's the main chakras. And one of them is your heart, this is the Tibetan bowl, and that's the symbol of your heart, and that's the lotus leaves. So do you want to find out which chakra you might have out of balance? It could be your heart that might be out of balance. And within that, what we'll do is we'll send over to you 4 quick and easy tried methods and how to rebalance your chakra. If you'd like to have a taster session, a one-to-one session with myself and Madeline, what happens is you'll spend some time with me. I release whatever trapped emotions are in there, and then you can have a one-to-one meditation with Madeline. And I'll put below what the website is, and you can have a look to see if you fancy having a taster session. Okay, well, that's us for today. We look forward to seeing you next week at 10:30, and the topic will be about prenatal. Take care until then.
Bye for now.